Okay, hi. For this mineral unit that you're going to be doing, there are several tests. You have a set of minerals and you'll have a paper to record all your results on. The names of these minerals are right here. So get familiar with these because you're at the end, after you gather all this information, you're going to familiarize yourself with these minerals. Then at the end, you're going to be given a test. I'm going to pick 6 of these minerals and put them back into a new carton, and you're going to do the tests on them again, but you have to figure out what they are. So, we're going to talk about why that's a little more difficult than what you think it is. So, first thing that you're going to do is we're going to do these tests just right in order. So the first test you're going to do is the color test. Color is least accurate. So the minerals that you're going to see on the final test, they're going to be the same minerals, but they're going to be different colors. So they're going to be a little bit harder to identify. So color test, super simple. You pick the mineral up, you say, what color is it? I wouldn't get fancy with your colors, just do crayon box colors. So this is gray, write down gray for the first one, galena. The second one, this is mica. This particular mica is white, or if you want to get pearl, that's fine, but white will be just fine. And then just go on and write down all the colors on all the minerals right here. Should take you a couple of minutes, not long. Don't put too much thought into it. The next test is more important. It's the streak test. As you take these minerals, you'll take one out at a time. And that's the rule, only take one mineral at a time. To put it back in the wrong spot, all your tests are messed up. So you take the mineral and you take a white streak plate. This is just a porcelain tile or ceramic tile. It's got little pores in it which grab a hold of the mineral. And you're going to take this mineral and you're simply going to drag it right across the top of it to see what color it is. And this first one, galena, is gray, just like the mineral is. And you can write that down the streak test. If you have a mineral that doesn't show up, let's say you check mica and you're running across the streak plate, all the streak plates, safety, go on the table. Don't put them in your hand because they can crack if you press hard enough. So you're gonna press it down, you streak across there and you realize, I don't see anything on here. I just see the gray from the galena, but nothing from the mica. You're going to put this streak plate down, and I have a fancy black one, and you can take it and go across the top, and you'll see that this one streaks white. So now you can write down white on the for mica on there. And so the streak tests are going to be a more accurate description because no matter what color mica ends up being different samples, it will always streak white on there. So the streak tests are more important. Do take your time on those. Again, try to stick to color box crayons. Crayon box colors, excuse me. That's the streak test. Hardness test will be the next one. Hardness test is found in the back of your paper, and the rules for the hardness test is this. If you start, if you look now at the note at the bottom, it says start with the test number 1 on the left and move to the right. Stop when you get a positive test. That's important to stop when you get a positive test. Otherwise, you're gonna keep on going and you're gonna yes multiple times. So here's what you're gonna do. We're gonna start with mineral number 12. Mineral number 12 is feldspar. Here's a thing of feldspar, the sample here. And the first thing on the hardness test, which is found in the back of your paper, first column says, if it's a 1, it scratches easily with your fingernail and feels soft. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put here fingernail, and this is a penny, and this is a nail, and this is glass. So 1 and 2, you're gonna test with your fingernail. 3, you're gonna test with a penny. 4 and 5, you're gonna test with the nail. And 6 and 7, you're gonna test with glass. And so you can even write that on your paper if you want to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, can I scratch this with my fingernail? And then I can determine if it's a 1 or a 2. So I hold it on top of my paper, I'm looking, I don't see anything coming off. We should see quite a bit coming off to scratching with my fingernail. I do feel my fingernail and it's really rough. So that means that the rock is actually scratching my fingernail. So it is not a 1 or a 2. So I'm gonna write no on mineral number 12. And I'm starting on mineral number 12 simply because I'm gonna be able to go farther across. It's a harder one. no, and no. Then I say, will it scratch with the penny? So this is a copper penny. This penny is a pre-1984, so it's 100% copper, not the zinc coated. And I'm gonna hold it on my paper and I'm gonna scrape some on there, making sure I get a sample on there. And again, I'm not seeing anything coming off from my mineral. If I do see something coming off, it's probably colored like copper, which means it's scratching my penny. So be careful as you're scratching really hard minerals, you might end up finding that it's actually scratching the penny, not the mineral. So I'm gonna write no, it does not scratch with the penny. Then I'm gonna check and see, does it scratch with the nail? Is it a 4 or 5? I'm gonna hold it over the top, I'm gonna scratch it, and I'm gonna say no, I'm not really doing any damage to the mineral with that. You see, if you scratch it, I'm not really seeing. So I'm gonna put a no and a no on the 4 and the 5. 4 to 5, no, no. And we're gonna see now if it scratches glass. So this is a glass scratch plate. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna find your mineral, you're gonna scratch it across the glass and see if it leaves a mark on the glass. Oftentimes you can hear it and feel it scratch the glass. So we're gonna see if we can hear it. Here we go. I don't know if you could hear that. It's totally scratching the glass. I don't think it's scratching his glasses as easily. I had to press kind of hard, but I'm gonna call it a 6 because the difference between a 6 and a 7 is that it doesn't scratch easily, and 7 is it scratches glass easily, and I'm gonna say probably is more like a 6. I had to press it down pretty hard. So I'm gonna put a yes on the 6 and circle that. Notice I have a positive test. I can stop now. The reason you want to stop in a positive test is because if it scratches with your fingernail and you put a yes, but you keep going, if it scratches with the fingernail, of course it's going to scratch with the penny, and then you're going to get a yes here. Of course it will scratch with the nail, and then you're going to get a yes here, and you're going to think it's a 4 or 5 when it's really a 1 or a 2. So stop when you get that first positive test. So now that I know it's a 6, I'm going to flip my paper over, and I'm going to put in the hardness column, I'm going to put that it's a 6 right down here. Okay, that's how you do the hardness test. Do yourself a favor. If you think it's a 4 or higher, if you think it's a 4 and you think, yeah, I'm pretty good at scratching with the nail, I think it's a 4 or a 5, feel free to do that. Go ahead and see if it scratches glass. If it's a 4, it won't scratch glass. You're not going to mess my scratch plate up at all, and you can just check and see if it scratches the glass. If it does scratch glass, then you're wrong. It's not a 4 or 5. It's now a 6 or a 7. You have to decide. So if you get to a 4 and you think it's a 4 or 5, go ahead and test to see if it scratches glass. It's not going to hurt anything if it's not. So check on there just as a double check. Oop, that goes back in there. The next test that we're going to do is the vinegar test. I'm just going to give you the answers to those because the vinegar is smelly and it's really probably, and really there's only one mineral that passes that. Calcite will get a yes on that. So I don't know if you can see that. So calcite will get bubbles all over it. There's a chemical in calcite that reacts with the acids and releases, I believe it's carbon dioxide into it. This mineral is similar to what you might be taking if you're eating a Tums. It neutralizes the acid, releases carbon dioxide. So not that I want you to eat the mineral. But this is the only one that passes that one. So I don't know if you can see the bubbles, but it's bubbly all over. Fairly small though. But it's the only mineral that passes that test, and we just don't waste our time with it anymore simply because it takes the whole class period and we end up with one mineral and all whole classroom smells like vinegar. So you're gonna put no on all of the minerals under the vinegar test except for calcite, and you're going to write a yes on that one. The magnetic test. You're gonna take a magnet, that's the one thing I forgot. You're gonna take a magnet and you're gonna take a sample of the mineral. I would suggest you take a white piece of paper and you're going to scratch with your penny. Don't use your nail simply because it's made of iron. If it scratches the iron off, you might get a false positive. And you're gonna find some weak spots. And if you go right along the edge of the mineral, oftentimes you can press hard enough even with a mineral that's harder, and you can get a sample of it. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna scrape off some of that mineral. I get a good sample, put the mineral back in, and then hold the magnet underneath the mineral and wiggle it around and see if it moves around. What we're looking for is most of the mineral to be dancing around. There is one mineral that has a false positive. I think it has some iron in it, this mixed in there with it, and you can tell. You're going to scrape it off and you're going to see it moving around, but as you move it across, you're going to see that only part of that mineral that's coming out is magnetic, and it's a different color. If you feel it, it's a different hardness, and that's going to be false positive on that one. Go ahead and write down yes on it, but make a little note that you think it might be something else that's in the mineral. By the way, galena was not magnetic. It was not moving around on there, but you would take that and stick it underneath there to see if it moves around. You don't want to put it up here, because if it is partly magnetic, it'll stick to the magnet and you might not see it come off the paper. But underneath, you might be able to see it just to move around some. There's at least one of the minerals on here that when you touch the magnet to it, it'll stick to it. So look out for that one. It's fairly magnetic. The next test is the electrical test. We don't do the electrical test. That our test results have never been accurate on these minerals. I couldn't get it even to work, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the answers to those. It's a yes on galena and a yes on graphite, and all the rest of them are no. So you can go ahead and write no on the rest of them. Yes on galena, which is mineral number 1, and yes on graphite. Graphite is also found in your pencil lead, and they often used to use it for Scantron, which tests it electrically, send electrical signal through there. And if you didn't use the right number of pencil that had the certain percentage of graphite in it, it would not show up well on those tests. So make sure so graphite is the same thing that is found in pencil lead. Luster, you're going to use one of these words for your luster test. And luster is a description of how light reflects off of the mineral, okay? So the words I want you to use are dull. You can write these words down. Dull. Slight shine. Shiny. Very shiny. Glittery, and glittery is going to be like little sparkles coming off on there. And I'm going to put metallic, and metallic is going to be like a piece of metal. It looks like a piece of metal. Obviously, metal items are very shiny. That's part of the definition of a metal. But you can just put it on there that it looks like a piece of metal. Metallic is going to be very shiny. You could leave that one off and put metallic maybe under other descriptions, but very shiny. So use these words: dull, slight shine, shiny, very shiny, glittery. And if you want to put metallic down there also, you're welcome to do that as well, because that'll describe one of our minerals. So you're just going to go through, you're going to pick the mineral up, and you're going to say, is this shiny? How is the light shining off? If it appears to be dull, put it under the sunlight or under a bright light and see if you can see any sparkles in there. Most of these have some kind of shine to them, but not all of them do. But check for the dull ones to see if there's a sparkle in there as well. So that's the luster test. Other descriptions, you can go down, and if a mineral number 1, you can pick it up and you can say, is there anything else that I didn't test? That would be a description of this. Things you might look for, like mineral number 1 is unusually heavy. Dense might be, or unusually heavy. For a small rock, it really packs some weight to it. The particles inside are just packed really tightly together, and we squeezed in more in there. I didn't squeeze more in there, nature did. Other descriptions in here. Mineral number 2, mica, has something very unique to it. You might want to look and see how it comes apart. Cleavage planes, cleavage means to break, and a plane is a flat surface. So some of these minerals, when they break in with flat surfaces. Mica has 2 flat surfaces. That's actually one plane, because it's on the top and the bottom, so all going the same way. So a cleavage plane, if you just want to write down a cleavage plane rather than just one cleavage plane, if it's also going like this, 2-dimensional, there's a cleavage plane going this way and this way, that would be 2 cleavage planes. If it's 3-dimensional, there's a cleavage plane here and front to back, then that would be 3 cleavage planes, and none of them we have today have more than 3 cleavage planes. But if you just want to indicate that it has a cleavage plane, that's probably good enough for our 5th grade stuff. I'm trying to think of some other descriptions. If you would like mineral number 4, halite, for the other descriptions, you can take your penny and scrape off a small sample of this, and then one time put a little bit on your finger and take it to the end of your tongue and taste it and see what it tastes like. Only do this with mineral number 4 and only do it once. So it should be fine. And it has a unique flavor to it. So you can write that down. There's no need to taste all the other ones. They just taste like rocks. When you get this done, you should have a nice little description of the minerals on here. And I'm going to then you'll take out this paper and you'll double check your answers. I don't start with this. Start with this. Go ahead and do the work in here so you can experiment and get to know. But here's the book answers. Not all of them are going to match your answers. Go through mineral number 1. If you have them, they're close, that's perfectly fine. They don't have to be exactly. If you say it's a 6, they have to say it's a 7. I just leave it there. If you say it's a 5 and they say it's a 6, they're saying that it scratches glass and you say it doesn't. I'd go ahead and retest that one. You may be right. And maybe it doesn't scratch glass. Go ahead and leave your 5. That particular sample just happens to be a little bit softer. Go ahead and retest any that you feel that you need to, and then you're welcome to use this paper and your notes on the test. When you're done with these samples and you get to know them really well, then I'm going to give you a new set of minerals. They're going to be 6 of the same that minerals we have in here, but they're going to be different colors. And then you're going to then try to figure out what they are. So you're going to be given a paper, this blank, it doesn't have the names on them, and you'll have to figure out what they are from there. So that's pretty exciting. If you have any questions, just make sure you get a hold of me and let me know, but this video hopefully should help you with that. All right?